Welcome to the Creating a Travel Authorization Part 1 training video. By the end of this video, you will know how to navigate to the travel authorization entry screen, enter the mandatory detail fields in a travel authorization, and enter airfare expense details. Go into GoWMU, and then under the My Work section, click on All Links, Administrative Applications, PeopleSoft Administrative Systems, and then PeopleSoft Financials. On the ensuing screen, log in with your BroncoNet ID and password. On the home page in the top right-hand corner, click on the compass icon and select Navigator to open the navigation bar. Then select Employee Self-Service and Travel and Expense Center. On the Travel and Expense Center screen, select the Create Modify button found under the Travel Authorization section. You should be redirected to a screen where you need to enter the employee ID of the one that you are creating an authorization for. If you do not know the employee ID, you can click on the magnifying glass to show all the individuals that you can create an authorization for. If you are not a delegate of another traveler, you will not see this screen, but will be brought into the authorization automatically. Select the Add button to begin. On the top of the authorization, select a business purpose from the drop-down menu and then fill in the description box with the name of your trip. You can then enter the start and ending dates of your trip rather by typing them into the date from and date to boxes, or selecting the calendar icon to be able to pull up a full view of the dates and select them from there. There is also a Notes option that you can select to enter any additional information about your travel. This information will also show up on the printed authorization PDF, so please ensure that all important information is included here. You can type in your information and then select the Add Notes button when you're finished. Under the Projected Expenses section, you'll begin selecting the expense types needed for your trip. We will begin by selecting Airfare Round Trip from the Expense Type drop-down menu. Please note that by adding airfare, the travel authorization will automatically route to AAA after the workflow is approved to book your flight. It's the traveler's responsibility to contact the travel agent after approval to book their travel as far in advance as possible. Therefore, all information entered should be accurate and complete to give the travel agent as much detail as possible. Enter the date that you will fly out and a brief description about any uncommon circumstances, including traveling with a spouse or funding from a third party. In the Payment Type column, select the form of payment that you will use to pay for that expense. Prepaid expenditures are those expenses directly billed to your department's fund and cost centers, so we will select this option. Enter the estimated amount, and then if it's not already selected, select the arrow to the left of the date field to expand the expense details. For the billing type, select whether that expense is reimbursable to the traveler or not. In this case, the airfare expense is a prepaid expenditure, so it would be non-reimbursable. The originating location will be the airport or city that you will be flying out of for your trip. These airport locations have been pre-populated to help the traveler in their selection. The easiest way to enter this field is to type in the first few letters of the city and then select the option when it appears. You can also choose to click on the magnifying glass, change the filter to description, and then type in the city and select it when it appears. In the Travel To field, enter the destination city that you'll be traveling to. If you do not see your city, you can click on the magnifying glass and search for it with the description filter. If the city you're traveling to is not an option, select the closest airport to it and make a note in the description field of what the actual city is. The merchant field contains a list of frequently used merchants for that expense in the preferred option. Please note that these do not signify that the university has a contract with these merchants. You can also select the non-preferred option and choose a reason for the drop-down box if you do not have a preference. Next, click on the Accounting Detail button to ensure that the fund and cost center that you are using is correct. The default fund and cost center is the one that you are paid out of payroll from, so if you need to search for a different option, click on one of the magnifying glasses under the appropriate column, or type them into their respective fields if known. If you want to see if there are any errors, select the Save for Later option at the top of the screen. If any errors exist on the expense, the system will highlight the affected fields in red, indicating that they need to be updated. Hitting the Save for Later button will save all progress and assign a unique authorization ID number without submitting the authorization for workflow approval. In review, you can create a travel authorization by going to the Travel and Expense Center and selecting Create Modify. The mandatory fields listed with an asterisk must be entered with valid information, and the airfare expense will be routed to AAA automatically after workflow approval